Hello and welcome to The Nexus. Today we're breaking with tradition and looking at not one, but three very interesting stories that need a little more attention. Coming up then, one of my favourite words, morons. Why would anyone buy and then burn an original Banksy? Here's a clue, non-fungible tokens. Plus, lost in translation, why a white man is not allowed to translate Amanda Gorman's poem. And is this the right time for Piers Morgan to storm off? We look at the surge of conservative broadcasters in the United Kingdom and America who are vying to snap him up. And we're going to start with that story about conservatives or right-wing media sprouting up in the UK and the United States. You'll remember last week, Piers Morgan, one of the most high-profile journalists here in Britain, walked off set during a heated argument about Meghan Markle, and he parted ways with his network soon after.
I understand that you've got a personal relationship with Meghan Markle, or had one, and she cut you off. She's entitled to cut you off if she wants to. Has she said anything about you since she cut you off? I don't think she has, but yet you continue to trash her.
OK, I'm done with this.
No.
Sorry, no, sorry.
Do you know what? That's pathetic.
You can trash me, maybe, not my
No.
See you later.
I'm being...
Sorry, can't do this.
This is absolutely diabolical behaviour.
Well, this week he was reportedly the object of a $14 million bidding war between two new conservative networks, Rupert Murdoch's News UK TV and GB News, run by a former BBC bigwig, Andrew Neil. Both are racing to be the next big thing in British broadcasting. Of course, he may end up going to America and Rupert Murdoch's Fox News, which dominates in the right-wing space, but has recently had strong competition from Newsmax and, to a lesser extent, OANN, one American news network. Even Aljazeera is planning to launch a conservative network called Rightly. So let's bring in our guest now. We have Andre Walker, who is a political journalist, a conservative journalist here in the United Kingdom, and Matt Binder is a journalist from the other side of the political aisle in the United States. Welcome, both of you. Matt, I'd like to start with you. What the world needs right now are more conservative news networks.
Well, I mean, if they want to start, they certainly can start a conservative news network. You know, we have a Democratic president right now here in the U.S., and as we know from history, this is when the other side of the aisle's media usually flourishes. You know, during the Clinton era was the beginning of the conservative media boom with the new internet. You know, the Drudge Report really made a name for itself during Bill Clinton's presidency. And then during the Obama years, you had Fox News rising to the occasion. So this is really prime time for conservative media to shine with Joe Biden's presidency.
Andre, it's an exciting time for conservative broadcast journalists, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's been an extremely worrying time in general before this. If you look at something, look at what's going on in the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom for very many years effectively banned conservative voices from television and radio. We have the BBC, which is absolutely dominant. That is a centre-left broadcaster that is publicly funded. Similarly, many of the other TV channels and indeed TV news networks are not going to broadcast the sort of thing that people want to watch. And what changed in Britain really was the Brexit referendum, when Britain realised that actually there is an establishment, there is an elite in Britain that does not want to listen to an alternative view. And suddenly people realised that there was a need for a greater degree of balance. What we've got in our newspapers in Britain is you've got left-wing and right-wing and everywhere in between. But when it comes to television and radio news, effectively, conservatives have been kept off the air for far too long. And I think actually it's going to improve all of the media in this country by bringing plurality to the system.
Matt, you look a bit sceptical, but let's just have a quick look at the media landscape. We have a diagram here of the media landscape in the UK and US. You know, you've got the centre line there with NBC, ABC, CBS, pretty close to it. And just left of centre, you've got BBC, NPR. Further left, you've got CNN, MSNBC. And to the right, Fox News has pretty much had all of that space to itself, now competing with Newsmax and a few others I've mentioned already. I mean, don't you think the broadcast media landscape is skewed to the left, even in the United States, or especially in the United States?
Well, conservatives have they're known for considering these corporatist media organizations like CNN to be leftist media groups, which is not true. You know, Fox News portrays the talking points that resonate with people on the right side of the spectrum. But CNN doesn't represent the left. It's corporate media. There's way more conservative news organizations that actually represent the conservative sphere than any sort of organization on a news organization on the left. The idea that BBC is a left-leaning organization. I mean, they didn't treat Jeremy Corbyn quite well during his run when it was his time.
Yeah, but on pretty much every social issue you can mention, frankly, the BBC always takes a sort of more of a left or progressive approach.
Well, that's just because social issues are becoming the left-wing view of social issues are just becoming the norm over the years.
Yeah, but I mean,
people have decided that gay people aren't.
But Matt, they played an active part in campaigning for that sort of position to be moved to the left.
Most of the people that run these media networks come from the same background. They're not necessarily sat there conspiring against the public to come up with a product that's essentially saving. If you look at something like the BBC, when the BBC talks about diversity, what it will do is it will always take on effectively middle-class, posh people from the home counties. Now, when it comes to diversity, it might sometimes pick a black woman to do it, or a white woman to do it, or a black man or a white guy. But it's always going to be from the same background. They always have essentially the same view. What we're saying is that we just need a degree of fairness here. And if you look at the coverage, and I say this about Brexit, you look at the coverage of Brexit or in the US, say Donald Trump. If you were to watch the media, you would think that Brexit and Donald Trump were hugely unpopular and supported by maybe 5 to 10% of the population. And then the election comes and the referendum comes, and you see that level of popularity that the media portrays is simply untrue.
Matt, do you see the level of frustration on social media that they're not seeing in broadcast journalism anyway, anything that's really reflecting their views?
Well, I mean, the conservative media here right now, while people are struggling both financially and medically due to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, the conservative media here is focused on the gender of Mr. Potato Head now.
Oh, but come on, this is not relevant. The question is not your own political views. The question is whether there is a fairness here. Look, whether or not you agree with what Fox News are talking about, that's not the point. The point is it fair to have no plurality within the media market? What you have illustrated in this broadcast is fundamentally the problem. You believe it is morally wrong for Conservatives to ever be allowed to take to the air. That is the issue that needs to be addressed here.
I never said that at all. In fact, if an organization wants to have a conservative talking head on their show, a conservative pundit or conservative journalist, they're more than welcome to do that. I honestly, I think it is skewed towards conservatives. I mean, here in the United States, again, I can't speak to what your UK media has, but here in the United States, on even what you guys consider to be the liberal news organization, MSNBC, their main talking heads, their main pundits are people who claim to be anti-Trump Republicans with the Lincoln Project, a former Bush administration press secretary. I mean, it's skewed to the right. So
okay. You can't see the fundamental bias in saying, don't worry, our network broadcasts lots of Conservatives, just the ones that disagree with the current Conservative government at the time when Donald Trump was in there. Oh, come on. That's exactly the same as when they put up, they put up people in the UK who go, oh, well, look, I love the Labour Party, but I'm voting Conservative this time, and claim they're socialists.
I'm afraid, Andre, the bell has rung. Andre Walker, Matt Binder, thank you so much for your contributions to the Nexus today. Much appreciated. Come back for a round two sometime soon. Well, thanks for watching our programme. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends and family, and even subscribe.